Well, we found a mass shooting the Democrats don't want to talk about. This one involves a family down in Texas, and it seems the murderer has been in the country illegally and back and forth across the border, deported, came back. I mean, we know this story. It's old as time, sadly, or at least as old as the Biden administration. Joining us now is senior writer at Town Hall and author of Fiery but Mostly Peaceful, Julio Rosas, who covers border and immigration issues like none other. Julio, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, later.
And I know you have a lot of sources in law enforcement, especially down at the border. This has got to be so frustrating for them, as this is the kind of thing that happens. They know they've got criminals who are coming across the border. They know they have murderers coming across the border, and they literally can't do anything about it.
That's the issue, right? And I've always said that the photos and the videos of all the family units and unaccompanied minors, that's been the easiest part to see with this current border crisis. And what worries them the most is who you don't see, and those are the people who pay extra to be brought over across without being intercepted or being caught by Border Patrol. And so this individual that's the suspect for the shooting over the weekend, he has been deported 5 times. His most recent contact with immigration authorities was 2016, so he could have come back between obviously now and then. And so when it comes to situations like this, it's very interesting to see how, just one, he shouldn't even had a firearm in the first place. He's not a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And yet he got it illegally. And so apparently this was over a dispute about shooting guns off late at night, and they wanted him to stop. And apparently he was intoxicated when the shooting happened. And so now he's on the run. But it's a very tragic situation overall, and obviously speaks to how the importance of border security, because not only do we have to today be concerned about crime being done by American citizens with this current crime crisis, but now we have to add in who else might be coming in illegally that doesn't have the best intentions.
Yeah, and as usual, as you point out so often in your reporting here, Julio, the victims are also people that come from Latin American countries. It's a family from Honduras. The illegal immigrant criminals who are in this country, who are here for criminal purposes, to wreak violence on neighborhoods, those neighborhoods are often full of immigrants themselves. So, you know, when Alejandro Mayorkas and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and pretty much every Democrat in the House and the Senate, when they try to make excuses and they try to say, well, you're being racist, you're being anti-Latino by wanting to have some modicum of law enforcement on the border, they're the ones who are putting families like this in harm's way as a result of their policies. It just goes without saying.
Right. And Mark Morgan, who was the commissioner of Customs and Border Protection during the Trump administration, he told me that because of the policies that Mayorkas instituted for ICE in terms of the priority on who's going to be who's going to receive ICE's attention for deportation, this individual, he did not meet that criteria. So ICE wasn't even looking for him. And it's not like ICE is doing much deportation these days compared to what they used to,
Right.
what they normally do.
Yeah.
And so, Morgan was saying, obviously now they're looking for him, but now it's too little too late for that family. And so it goes beyond just, obviously, it goes beyond even if this guy came into the country right after 2016, ICE wasn't even looking for him as of this year.
Julio, are ICE agents allowed to speak out about these things? Is there a chain of information? Are there whistleblowers within ICE? Because when you sign up to be either a Border Patrol agent or an ICE agent, you actually want to do some good. You actually want to get the bad guys. You want to enforce the law. You want to protect people on this side of the border. And all of those intentions are being undermined by this president's policy. Normally you get whistleblowers who step up and say, this is wrong. People are dying because of this.
I mean, there certainly can be. We most recently saw the whistleblower at HHS and other contractor organizations who worked with HHS when it came to placing unaccompanied minors in unvetted or not properly vetted sponsors. And obviously they've lost almost 90,000 kids to date. And so This is building. This has been building up for quite some time, and I can tell you, especially within Border Patrol, because I mean they're right on the front lines. They're very frustrated,
Yeah.
and that's why the Border Patrol union, has been just such a hammer against Mayorkas, because they're able to speak out against it, and their membership rate encompasses nearly all of the Border Patrol agents in the country, and so there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of disheartenness
Hmm.
with them, because again they live and work down there, and many of them have lived and worked down there for many years through multiple administrations. I've never seen it get this bad as it is right now.
So what we do know, based on some sources at ICE, and you've been reporting this at Town Hall, as has Bill Malusian of Fox News, Francisco Oropesa is the Mexican national who's now wanted. He was deported up to 5 times during the Obama administration. The last record, as you saw, was 2016, which was right before the Trump presidency began. So we don't know when he came back into the country. But he's now committed this crime. And do they only worry about this, Julio, do you think, because it looks bad politically? And Mayorkas is under the gun in Congress right now. So now, now they're going to do what they can to get this guy, but it's really just cosmetic. Or is there possibly a shift now where they actually are recognizing that the border is a crisis, the border is a problem, and this is unsustainable?
I think it's mostly optics. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, I can tell you that Mayorkas was briefed about the incident before he appeared on an interview show yesterday on Sunday. And
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
That was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd. You're telling me he got briefed beforehand? Because when Chuck Todd asked him about it, he just said, "Yeah, I'm not going to comment on an ongoing investigation," which makes no sense because this man's immigration status is completely irrelevant to whether he murdered these. I mean, it's a data point that we should discuss, but it doesn't affect the investigation. So he had been briefed and he still refused to comment to Chuck Todd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because and then that it speaks to the optics of, because we have Title 42 going away later this month, and that's going to cause a whole bunch of mayhem for some time, and so they don't care about like they don't care about trying to actually solve it in terms of they want to try to not focus on the optics, and the media has been helping them along with that. The AP called this shooter a Texas man, which implies that he's a U.S. citizen when he's not, and his immigration status is seldom mentioned in these stories. And instead, it's focused a lot on the AR-15 and other shootings, even though these other shootings are not exactly in the same circumstances as this one right now.
That's amazing. Yeah, Texas man used an AR-15. Killed 5 people. Like I said, mass shooting. Usually this would be wall-to-wall coverage, but it's kind of hard to report on this story without, maybe at least 2-3 paragraphs in pointing out the fact that this guy is actually the poster child for our porous border and for this administration's negligence in securing our border. So that's why you're not saying, I mean, if you see any coverage of it, that's how they're doing it. But really, they're just sort of letting this story fade away.
I think so. There has been some, obviously there's just a lot of focus on the gun. As in these cases, and obviously that is part of the story. But again, what I will say is that it speaks to one of the circumstances that led to this event is the fact that ICE is not carrying out its mission to its fullest extent, and that's specifically because Secretary Mayorkas ordered him not to. Instead, focusing on priorities, and he said so himself that being in the country illegally is not the sole basis for being removed from the country. You have to do pretty significant things, and well, obviously this is now a significant thing. They have no idea where he is.
Julio, have they ever given you a list of what those things are? I mean, have they just said, here, this is where we draw the line. If you're in the country illegally and you commit these crimes, then we're going to send you back to where you belong?
Well, things like drunk driving, they don't really count. I mean, non-violent crimes typically don't automatically put you on that list. It has to be, like I said, pretty significant. Things like murder,
wow.
like this case now, and some other serious charges. For them, they very like to now have it like a case by case basis in terms of severity.
It's on a case by. It's not how you run a country. It's not how you enforce the law. But it is. It's subjective. It's on a case by case basis. Whatever the whims, usually the political and optic whims, are for whoever's in charge. Julio Rosas, thanks for joining us on this. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight. You're watching Salem News Channel.